Today on Montel.
Shocking story.
Two high school girls betrayed, secretly videotaped while changing in the bathroom.
He was one of my best friends.
Then the videotape circulated throughout the entire school.
He'd taken 4 mini cassettes and then put music to it.
Plus, a tiny camera behind the mirror in Heather's bathroom didn't miss a thing.
And they later came in and found
181 videotapes.
Wait till you see how she caught her peeping Tom landlord. Don't go away. That's coming up right now on Montel.
Welcome. Thank you so much for joining us today. You know, imagine being secretly videotaped or watched by someone you know, someone you trust. Well, today, you're going to be shocked to learn that someone may be watching you when you least expect it. Take a look at this.
Imagine being watched in your most private moments. They see you sleep. They watch you undress and spy on you as you bathe. They're video voyeurs. A new generation of peeping toms who not only chart your every move, but in some cases, keep a video record as well. Despite the evidence, the law can do little to stop these high-tech spies. How did they get away with it?
Well, we'll find out. Our first story made national headlines last year when some NFL players revealed the unthinkable. Please welcome former Philadelphia Eagles cheerleaders Suzette and Nicole to the show. Let's go back and talk about exactly how you found out things and in what order, the exact way this went down. So talk to me.
The first time I heard about this, I was actually in my living room, and I've told this story a million times, and this has been over a year now that this hasn't been resolved. I was in my living room with my husband. We had a few friends over, and we were watching the Eagles-Giants playoffs game.
Okay.
And they had said, coming up the Eagles cheerleaders, and we thought, wow, this is fantastic. We have so many good things we do, and we were looking forward to see what was coming up. They went to a commercial break, came back on, and they said that the players had told reporters that they were peeking in on the cheerleaders for years, watching them naked.
For years?
For years. And it was one of the perks of coming to Vet Stadium.
So every time we're at home watching a Philadelphia football game on TV, the players were back there in the locker room before the game started watching you.
Disgusting.
But I say it this way only because now, did we find out, has anybody ever found out exactly how they were doing this?
No, and that's the thing we are going to find out, because if we have to depose every player, agent, owner, anybody who was in that visiting team locker room, we will depose.
Yeah, this is the locker room right here that we're looking at on the video, correct?
That's correct.
And I guess the women's cheerleader locker room was adjacent to or butted up against the men's football locker room?
We're separated.
A door separated.
Next to it.
So has anybody said exactly how they went about this? Were they peeking through a doorknob? Were they peeking through?
We have no idea. But again, the players could answer that question, and anybody who was in that locker room could answer that.
So far, there's only been 3 players who have acknowledged the fact that they have actually watched something.
So not only are they doing this, they're bragging about it, which makes it worse.
And you have to stop and think for a second. Now, this was going on. A lot of people are sitting out here going, you know, what's the big deal? Maybe you heard about this kind of garbage in high school or in college. But the truth of the matter is, this was something that was part of a program, in a sense. For years, for 10 years, every football team that came to this stadium knew you could get a peek. So all the players knew the time the girls arrived, the time that they took off their clothes, the time that they took their showers, when they put on their makeup, how long it took. They even knew the schedule of certain individual girls that came up and showed up.
And you have to realize also how many people this has affected. I mean, we have families, we have our children, my husband, who's been very supportive. Our kids hear comments from other friends by saying, oh, we hear that the players have seen your mom naked. I'm also a school teacher. I put up with embarrassing comments from my students, and it's just all the women in this lawsuit have been extremely supportive. We're all joining in, and they have families, and we all have our careers and kids.
How long were you a cheerleader?
2 years.
2 years?
Yes.
And this obviously happened during a period of time that you were there?
Yes.
As soon as you found out about it, that's when you quit?
Well, thank God. It had been our last game. I had been finished. The season, so I didn't go back the next year. And I had found out it on the, it was everywhere. It was on TV, it was on the internet, it was in papers. People were calling me. I'm a hairdresser, so it was coming from everywhere. Everybody was telling me about it.
Do you know whether or not you were videotaped?
It's a possibility, and that's such a scary thought.
Because right now, that tape could be out on the internet, could be anywhere.
Absolutely.
Pictures could have been taken. Nobody knows anything.
Please welcome the attorney who is like, I guess you're spearheading this, Mr. Mike McKenna. Welcome him to the show. So Mike, and I'll ask the question because it may be the hard one. Is it not going to be extremely tough for you to bring a lawsuit against the NFL at all for voyeurism, peeping Tommy?
It's going to be tough, Montel, but let me put it to you this way. If Suzette has the guts to come forward and sue 29 NFL football teams and 500 players, and then Nicole joins her, and then all these ladies come and join, I'm not going to back away from the fight if they've got the guts. It does take a lot of guts to do what they're doing. I think they deserve a lot of credit for it. What these ladies have all decided, Suzette first, then Nicole, and then all the rest of them supported them, is they're not going to let it pass. They're not going to give these players, who are professional athletes, supposedly role models by the youth of America, who are acting like the nerds from Porky's Revenge, they're not going to give them a free pass. They're going to hold them accountable. And if we fail, and I don't expect to, we didn't start this to fail, we will have tried. The failure would be not to do anything about it and be victims.
Why not force the issue right now? I mean, like we're doing right this minute, publicly. There's no reason why the NFL has not at least apologized in writing to all the ladies who were members of the Philadelphia Eagles cheerleading squad. And even every team that ever set foot in that locker room should just send a letter of apology.
That's interesting because what they haven't done, and we wrote, before we started this lawsuit, we just didn't run to the courthouse.
Sure.
We wrote to them privately when it was just Suzette and said, her privacy's been violated enough. We don't need a lawsuit. She shouldn't have to deal, and her family shouldn't have to deal with this. Let's resolve it privately. Start a sexual harassment policy. Let's deal with this. We got two things. One is no denials, and two, we can't help you. Basically, sue us. And so they did.
Well, I wish you much success, and I would think that maybe, you know, fans, you would hope that the fans would help out by maybe, you know, pulling a little boycott or something, or trying to make sure that the teams in the NFL understand that not only are your viewers men, but your viewers are also women. And we've seen that very clearly in the last 10 years, that the ratings and the demographics for football has gone up when it comes to women. So if you want women to continue to watch, start acting more civil. That's something I think, and then hit them where it hurts. Get women that don't go to the games. As soon as you have one or two football games where every wife and every girlfriend in the country says, I'm not going because those guys are pigs, NFL will apologize. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to do that. Yeah, that's what'll happen. All right, so we're going to move on. When we come back, we're going to meet a high school girl who had to endure the same thing. Went to a party at a friend's house. Could not imagine that another high school student would have rigged the bathroom with cameras so that all the girls that come over and go to the bathroom can be videotaped. We'll take a little break. We'll be back right after this.
The girls undressed, unaware that their friend was videotaping their changing every single second.
That was probably the most fearful moment I've ever had. One, I didn't know what he was going to do. Two, I didn't know if my dad was going to kill him.
Are you ready to walk out if your mate doesn't break an embarrassing habit? If so, call us at 1-800-MONTEL-2. That's 1-800-MONTEL-2.
Videotapes everywhere. You know, right now, the nation is still trying to deal with the fact that on some street corners, you can drive your car through, go home. Next thing you know, you get a picture in the mail of you like this. And it says, pay the fine or go to jail. Videotapes are popping up everywhere. I don't know if we have even come close to matching the laws with what is going down right now voyeuristically. And in this next story, two young women innocently went to a friend's summer party, and what happened there drastically changed their lives literally forever. Take a look at this.
Cheshire high school classmates were celebrating this summer with a series of pool parties. The host, a senior student, invited the girls to change in his bathroom. The girls undressed, unaware that their friend was videotaping their changing every single second. Soon, those private moments would be made public throughout school.
Please welcome Liz and Layla to the show. I'll start with you, Liz. This happened when you were, what, 16? How old were you?
I was going into my junior year.
Your junior year,
It was the summer before my junior year.
Summer before your junior year, and there was a big party.
Well,
right?
he had a big party one week, and Layla and I weren't able to go. So the following week, we were free, and he decided to host a party just for the two of us, so we could come over and swim in the pool and hang out with him. You know,
Such a great guy.
yeah.
I'm gonna have a party for 56 people, and guess what? I'm gonna have one just for you. And he did.
He did.
You got to the house, and just walk us through this. You get to the house, he says, okay,
He
guys.
says, okay, guys, you go upstairs. You know where the bathroom is. I'd been overnight at his house before. I was very good friends with him. He's one of my best friends. And he said, just go upstairs, go change in the bathroom, and then come on down, and we'll chill in the pool for a couple hours.
So you went upstairs, and I mean, you weren't in a rush, so it took your time in the bathroom.
Yeah.
Were you together in the bathroom?
No.
One at a
separate.
time.
Yeah.
So you took your time, 5 minutes? 10 minutes?
Yeah, 5 minutes.
5 minutes? 5 minutes, 10 minutes? Get out, go down, jump in the pool, swim, everything's fine,
Yep.
right? Now, it's not for a year. How long after this day at the pool did you find out that this had happened?
Well, it happened in July. We didn't find out until the following November.
A year and a half. And you found out only because, why?
I was hosting a party for one of the other girls at my house, and his girlfriend at the time brought the tape over.
And she was breaking up with him at the time, angry
No,
at
they
him?
were just in the middle of a fight. And she wanted everybody to get mad at him, so she brought the tape over.
And just how, well, obviously you stripped down to nothing to put your bathing suit on.
Yep.
And you and possibly other, not you, but other girls that were there the week before used the bathroom. And he has all that on videotape. Now, in the tape that you saw, that was edited.
Yep. He'd taken 4 mini cassettes and put them all together on one VHS and then put music to it.
And then you later find out that the tape that this girlfriend showed you had already been seen. There were viewing parties.
Yes. Several of them guys who I had interacted with, guys who were in Boy Scouts with my brother, who I'd gone to their ceremonies and everything.
And all these guys sat around watching all of you underage girls take your clothes off. Now, obviously something was done about this. What? What happened?
Well, finally in March, they brought it to court, and we found out that it was going, and we went and we talked to the assistant district attorney, and he said, I want you girls in court every single time he's in the courtroom. So we went every 2 weeks. We were missing school, we were missing classes, we were taken away from our lives, everything, every 2 weeks to go to court.
But you got a conviction.
Yes.
Albeit a small one, but we still got a conviction.
Right.
During the period of time this was going on, this boy was actually in class with you, was he not?
Yes.
Let's talk about what, now here we, in one way, all of us looking at it going, yeah, it's really jacked up, it's messed up, you know, kids taping other kids. But really, how did that affect you?
It was so difficult. It uprooted my social life. He was one of my best friends. He and I had had a relationship. He'd told me he loved me.
He loved you enough to share you with his friends. So that ends, but then you start hearing all the garbage from kids in school,
Yeah,
correct?
I was getting teased. I was getting harassed. She ended up being homeschooled.
Yeah, I didn't
It got to the point, explain this, it got to the point where you had to leave the school, but why? What pushed you to that point?
Anxiety just from people staring at me made me wonder, you know, have they seen me naked before? You know, are they looking at me because, you know, they've seen me naked, or are they looking at me because they might actually like me? I didn't know.
And you went ahead and went home. You did go back for your senior year.
Yes.
So what has happened since? I mean, now that this is a couple years old, but at the same time, I'm sure that all the girls that were victims have continued to stay in contact. How are some of the other people doing?
Well, one of the other girls, there were 2 other girls besides us, and one of them we lost contact with because her part of the tape was actually destroyed and lost, so she had no case.
He actually attempted to destroy that tape.
Yes. And the 4th girl, we've lost a little bit of touch with. We know she's still around, but we don't talk to her as much anymore. We're really the 2 who stayed in the most contact.
And what's going on with him now? Because all he really got was, what, 9 months? How much time did he get?
90 days.
90 days. And then 2 years probation.
And he can't have any contact with us.
But he won't have to register as a sex offender.
Nope.
Because
He got youthful offender.
he had youthful offender. And if I were in college right now, I would avoid that guy like the plague. Because there's no telling what he might be doing. I'm going to take a little break. When we come back, you know, what happens when you buy a new house or you move to a new apartment? Or, you know, let's say you don't buy a house, because if you bought it, it means you would really do it super special. Let's say you just move into a new apartment. How many of you, when you moved into a new apartment, just walked around and looked in the corners and looked at the mirrors and looked in the microwave and you know that little lamp that has a little light bulb on it right above your bed? Did you go look in there? Of course you didn't. And do you think that every landlord on the planet is just a really nice, wonderful person? Wait till you hear our next story. Take a break. We'll be back right after this.
She felt like she was being watched. After 3 weeks, she couldn't take it anymore. She removed the bathroom mirror and was shocked at what she found.
That was probably the most fearful moment I've ever had. One, I didn't know what he was going to do. Two, I didn't know if my dad was going to kill him.
On the next Montel, will the truth set them free? Well, somebody needs to come clean. And who's that?
Me.
What deep secret is Wendy too afraid to tell her husband?
It's ate me up inside for so long and I can't do it anymore.
A lie detector will finally reveal the truth, but is her husband ready for it? Plus,
There's rumors that he was cheating on me.
is Daniel really two-timing Michelle?
When I ask him where he's been, he tells me, well, it doesn't matter.
The truth and nothing but the truth on the next Montel. You know, I got to go back and ask you, Layla, during the entire time that this thing was being investigated for both of you, this boy was in school, correct?
Correct, yeah.
Walking around the hallways, happy and proud of what he had done.
He was even in band class with us.
Yeah, we spend most of our band classes in the guidance department. You know, just we couldn't even sit in class.
What did it take to have him finally, you know, at least, you know, taken out of your classes?
It didn't happen.
It didn't happen.
That's why I was homeschooled.
Right
because he was
at the
never
very
taken out.
end of the year, he was finally taken out of band class, like for the last 2 months of my senior year.
Do you feel safe and comfortable in your own home? Well, my next guest did until it was a little bit too late. Take a look at this.
Heather, new to the Virginia area, thought she was being paranoid. While in the bathroom of her new apartment, she felt like she was being watched. After 3 weeks, she couldn't take it anymore. She removed the bathroom mirror and was shocked at what she found.
Please welcome Heather to the show. Heather. Saw an ad. Is that how you found this apartment, this place?
Actually, I found an ad on the internet because I was shopping from Pennsylvania, so I couldn't really go around to any of the places. And called the guy up, and he said that he no longer had any rooms available, but that he would keep me in mind if he had anything come up. And he called me probably about a month and a half later and said, well, listen, my parents are living with me now, and I thought about it, and I'm going to fix up a room in their house and allow you to stay there. And this is what I'll charge you and what have you, and you'll have full reign of the house and everything, but you'll just be renting that room. And I'll be in and out fixing up the other rooms because I haven't had a chance to do that, but I'll fix this one up just for you.
Okay, you said, wow, geez, great. Rent was good?
Rent was unbelievable.
No, but then now that's when you gotta stop for a second.
True.
Come on and pinch yourself.
True.
If it's too good to be true, what's the old saying?
I
It's
know.
not true. But that's okay.
And I
That's
found that
hindsight.
out the hard way.
Hindsight. Hindsight. Let's go forward. So you show up there, you look at the place, right?
Yeah, I went down with my mom, and we took a look at the place, and I mean, it wasn't the greatest place in the world, but for the price, you know, I really couldn't beat it. And because I was doing an internship and wasn't getting paid for it and all that, I didn't have a lot of money. So, you know, beggars can't be choosers, especially in that area.
So you said, okay, you signed a dotted line, mom
Actually,
leaves.
never signed a dotted line.
You never signed a dotted line.
Never signed a dotted line.
All right, so you move in, mom goes back home, and you're walking around in your nice little room, and you go in the bathroom, and you...
Actually, it was a couple weeks later.
When was the
that
first
I
time you saw the
actually
wood
moved
chips?
down. It was the day after I moved in.
Okay,
Because
so-
my mom and I went down like the week before and said, okay, and I drove down by myself on a Friday afternoon. It was probably about 6 o'clock or so. And all I wanted to do was unpack everything that, you know, everything that I had, you know, just get it out of my car, relax. It was a 4-hour drive, things like that. And next thing I know, I was waking up the next morning and getting ready to go shopping, laundry,
Running
all that
around.
stuff, yeah, find out where I was teaching. And I came back and there were wood shavings on the top of the sink.
And you see these wood shavings on the sink, and you're thinking, oh, that's right, the guy said he's doing work around the house.
Mm-hmm.
That's weird. Why would there be wood shavings on top of my sink? Did he look up at the ceiling?
Yeah.
Nothing's there, right?
I instant reaction told me to look on the wall that was right there. So I looked on the wall, and there was a mirror screwed into the wall. Something in the back of my mind kicked in and said, this used to be a medicine cabinet. And I don't remember taking inventory and saying, oh, look, there's a medicine cabinet. I can put my medicine in it. I can put this in it, you know. Something clicked in, and then immediately right after that, I even said out loud, I bet he just put a video camera in there. And then
yourself?
To myself. Well, actually, I said it out loud, but there was no one around.
Of course, right.
And I just got, it just freaked me out.
You had little willies, but it didn't freak you out enough to do anything that day. You said, couldn't be.
I said, Sliver can't really come true.
Yeah.
and that was my thing. I'm like, paranoid little small town girl in a big city. It's not going to...
Couldn't happen.
Yeah.
All right, then you went ahead and went on out and did your thing for that day, right? You had to go shopping and all that stuff.
Well, yeah, I finished putting everything away, and actually decided to go out that night and try to meet some people because I didn't know anyone.
Stop right there. We'll finish when we come back. We'll take a little break. We'll be back right after this.
At first, I thought we would just have this guy peeping in, and I never thought that he'd be videotaping.
That was probably the most fearful moment I've ever had. One, I didn't know what he was going to do. Two, I didn't know if my dad was going to kill him.
All right, so you go out that night, you go out to meet some people, make new friends, but every day now, this mirror's starting to bug you, is it not?
Yeah.
You did take a shower the next day?
Yes.
How many days do you think you bathed and showered and used the bathroom just normally? 4 or 5?
Longer than that. It was
6,
probably
7?
about 2.5 weeks worth that I...
But something just stuck in you, like made that bathroom started to bug you, did it not?
Completely. It actually started taking over my thoughts all day long. And
you kept saying to yourself, I wonder if he's got a camera back there. Constantly. You stopped going in the bathroom.
I eventually started covering the mirror whenever I was in the bathroom.
And then he said something to you one day, did he not? What did he say?
He actually was adamant about changing the fan in my bathroom.
Because?
He said it's a much better fan, it keeps everything, it keeps the steam out better, and just...
So he's looking at the videotape and seeing a big cover over the mirror, thinking that you're covering the mirror because it's steaming up and there's not enough exhaust. So you can pull the mirror cover down and get your face in the mirror.
Told me about the other girls that lived in his actual house that he rented rooms out of. Told me how when he put the fan in those bathrooms, how they loved it, and you know that I'll love it too. And
yeah, I need a new ceiling fan right now. Right?
Yeah, okay. I was like, why is he so? And then that just really kicked it in. And about 2 days after he put the new fan in, I called my mom. I was running late for work that morning, and I called my mom and I said, Mom, I can't do this anymore. I can't do it. I'm so paranoid. And she said, well, aren't there tools in the other room? And I was like, oh my God, yeah. Why didn't I think of that? She said, well, get the screwdriver and take the mirror off the wall and then call me back. And I took the mirror off the wall and...
And you found what?
I found what could have been a camera. I wasn't sure. I'd never seen a camera like that.
It was a video monitor. It was a camera, a surveillance camera.
It was a surveillance camera.
That he had stuck behind this mirror the day you moved in.
Behind a two-way mirror, yeah.
Two-way mirror. Now, your first call was again to your mom. Mom, it's the mirror. Camera here, right?
Yeah.
And she said, call your dad. You talked to your dad, there's a camera here. And your dad said, what happens if he comes home and he finds the fact that I took the mirror down, right?
Because they wanted me to wait until the weekend when they could come down and make sure. And then in the back of my mind, I was like, oh my God, what if he has this hooked to his house? You know, what if it's a webcam or something like that? And he's watching me right now find this. And so I told my mom, I said, that's it, I'm hanging up now, I'm calling the police. So I called the police.
And the first police officer that arrived on the scene was pretty young and new, right?
Yes.
What did he say?
He, this is actually kind of funny, because it was just my life, you know, general. He walks in and he says, yeah, that kind of looks like a camera, but I'm a rookie and they don't teach you how to deal with this in the academy. Mind if I call for backup?
3 minutes later, there's 6 cops at your house.
Yeah, I had 6 cops in my house before noon.
All in this 1-bedroom apartment.
Actually, it was a house.
Okay, in the house. All right. So they're there, they check it out, it's a camera, it's definite. They're going to bust this guy, right? Do they tell you that?
At this point, they weren't sure what was going to go on and what they were doing. They were trying to take all the equipment out of the house. He had the wires set up for my bedroom, but he hadn't put the camera in yet in my bedroom, but he had the wires running that way. And I happened to remember another statement that he, in passing, had said, and I know he probably hates me for remembering all these statements that he said, but he said, I rent to only females out of my own house also. And so I told the police this. And eventually, you know, my dad took the day off of work, so did my sister, to come and pack me up and, you know, get me out of there quick. And while we were waiting for my lawyer's appointment, he actually keyed into the house after all the equipment had been gone, because they didn't know where he worked or anything like this, because I didn't know either. So they couldn't get him yet because they didn't know where he was. And he actually came into the house, and my dad, my sister, and I are all there. And that was probably the most fearful moment I've ever had. 1, I didn't know what he was going to do. 2, I didn't know if my dad was going to kill him.
That's when I would have been more worried about it.
Yeah, I think that was probably...
I would beat him down right on the spot. But, okay, so...
But my dad knew it would cause more problems if he did anything, and my dad kept him from going into the bathroom or back toward the bathroom area. And I ran out to my dad's car phone and called 911 because I couldn't find the number for the detective, and told them that the detective told me if he came back to call immediately and let them know that he was there and everything. So my sister had enough sense to tell me to get his license plate number, and I got his license plate number as he was walking toward the garage, which was where all the equipment was. And I went back in the house, and the detective called. I said, I have his license plate number. He's just taken off right now. I said, do you want it? He said, yeah. And I gave it to him, and he hung up, and not even a half hour later, they busted him at his house.
And they later came in and found over 150 tapes?
181 videotapes.
181 videotapes.
Every one of them cut and edited.
So that means that he sat back and reviewed every piece of film that he saw on every girl who had been in one of his apartments. Yeah. Well, that was 181 on you alone.
No, that was 181 altogether. Reaching back to 1991.
But now you think, okay, they can bust a guy like this, right? He's busted. He's going to go away for 12, 13, 14, 15 years. How much time they give this guy?
6 months.
6 months. 6 months and 2 years probation. The laws have got... For violating it. The laws have got to be changed. Let me take a little break. We'll be back right after this.
Are you ready to walk out if your mate doesn't break an embarrassing habit? If so, call us at 1-800-MONTEL-2. That's 1-800-MONTEL-2. Closed captioning provided by...
Billy Mays here for Orange Glow. It's made with pure orange oil. Use it on different types of wood. Orange Glow helps keep it looking new. To find out more, look in stores everywhere.
Promotional consideration provided by the following.
These babies were conceived using the Clear Plan Easy Fertility Monitor. It identifies more fertile days each cycle than any leading method. Clear Plan, clear results.
Have an idea? Invention Submission Corporation can help you try to patent your idea and submit it to companies. Call 1-888-762-IDEA for free information.
Well, we've heard about it in the locker rooms, in school, in the locker room, in a rented apartment, but what about in the house that you own? What if you move into your house and you own it? How the devil can somebody be peeking on you in your own house? Please welcome Nancy to the show. And as I say, how can somebody possibly peek in your own home? But this was a whole nother set of circumstances.
A whole nother story.
Let's back up. How long had you lived in the house? Were you in the house?
A little over a year.
A little over a year, which is even scarier. Been in this house for a little over a year. And one morning, your husband, I guess, what, he went outside to check for the paper or something?
Get the paper.
Get the paper. And he happened to notice what?
Footprints in the snow.
In the snow, leading up to your house?
Well, coming from the street, going down the driveway to the rear of the house.
To the rear of the house. Your husband obviously followed the footprints.
Followed the footprints.
Came back inside and said, man, it's been outside hanging out. What are you doing? Right?
Right, exactly.
And you said?
I wasn't out there.
So he said what to you? I think somebody may have tried to break in the house.
Right. There's a garage door that's adjacent to this window area. And, you know, you think somebody came in the middle of the night and tried to open the door, maybe break in, and decided not to.
Okay, so you think, okay, well, that was a one-time shot. It won't happen again.
Exactly.
But the next morning...
Footprints were back.
Oh, I'm sorry, I should also say, it had snowed the day before, so you had footprints in fresh snow.
Exactly.
It snowed that night.
Yes.
Fresh footprints.
Again. Yes.
So now you're starting to wonder. What are you wondering?
Someone is looking in the window.
In what window would they be looking in?
And it would be a bathroom window.
And those footprints probably appeared... What time do you normally take a shower?
Well, I get up early, around 5. But I didn't think whoever was doing this was coming at 5 in the morning. I thought it was in the middle of the night. Never went through my mind they were peeking in at me.
So then the next day, right?
Well, then I alerted the police. I said 2 nights in a row we had these footprints. They go to this window. I had the shade up about 1 inch. Because it being a new house, you want to have the condensation and warm air going up between the shade and the window. We didn't have neighbors on either side of us. We have a wooded lot. This is my house. I'm safe here. The thought never came through my mind that someone would be looking in through that little inch opening.
So in calling the police, they were alerted that there may be some sort of peeping Tom or some sort of prowler or something in and around your neighborhood. So then, was it the next night?
Then it was the next night.
The next night?
The next night.
This guy couldn't get enough of you.
No, I guess not. We had snow again, and the police were going to be patrolling our neighborhood, and we made up this little plan that my husband was going to get up earlier than usual, sit in the front of the house in the dark, we're in a window where he could see the street. And lo and behold, the guy came, he parked his car, he got out, walked down the driveway, came to the window, did what he had to do.
And what did he have to do at the window? What was he doing at the window?
Well, I didn't know at the time. I mean, at first I thought we would just have this guy peeping in, and I have this little detective inside of me that I just want to know, who is this? What sick neighbor is doing this? Who is it? Is it kids? Is it adults? That's what I wanted to find out. I never thought that he'd be videotaping.
So he had showed up that morning with a video camera.
That morning.
Stuck it in that little crack of the window.
Yes.
And was videotaping you in the shower.
That day I wasn't in the shower, but when they arrested him and looked through all the videotape, then...
You found out?
Yeah.
How many tapes of you did he have?
I'm not sure how many he had. He had all different women in various stages of undress. I was the only one that was completely nude. And that's why...
But how, so he put all the videotapes of you all on one tape?
He had them basically all on one.
And editing them?
That I know of. I mean, I don't know what exists out there because they only took what they had in the camera at that time.
Let me ask you this question. Now, I asked this one of Heather. How much time did they give this guy for doing this to you?
Oh, he got away with a slap on his wrist.
Like 30 days in jail and 30 days
30 days on a work release jail program. He was fined, he was put on probation, and, you know, go through the counseling thing, and that was it. That was it.
And then you also later found out you knew who this man was.
Yes, I did.
Because he was?
He worked for the heating and cooling contractor that put in our heating and cooling system in our new home.
So he remembered you when your house was built?
Well, he had blueprints of my home in his car. He had blueprints of other homes that they did work on, and he basically said that he looks for homes with first floor bathrooms.
And as soon as he can find one, he starts taping.
He checks it out.
And they only gave this guy 30 days. Obviously, the laws need to be changed. We'll come back, we'll talk about that. We'll be back right after this.
Whether you live in the New York area or are planning on visiting the New York area, we would love to have you as a part of our studio audience. Please contact us at Tickets, The Montel Williams Show, 433 West 53rd Street, New York, New York, 10019, or call 212-989-8101, or email us at tickets@montelshow.com. Please be sure to include your phone number. Are you ready to walk out if your mate doesn't break an embarrassing habit? If so, call us at 1-800-MONTEL-2. That's 1-800-MONTEL-2.
Please welcome Wisconsin State Representative Mr. Mark Gundrum to the show. How are you, sir? You're about to bring some sort of legislation forward to be voted on about what? What do you want to do?
Video voyeurism, essentially. We had a law that was struck down by our state Supreme Court, so I took on the task of redrafting that.
Now, why was the law struck down by your state Supreme Court?
Overbroad on First Amendment grounds. It was so broad that it would have covered individuals photocopying a health book of a woman giving a breast exam and legitimate artworks and things like that. So these are very touchy areas that need to be narrowly tailored, and that's what we looked at doing.
The law exists. Why not just expand that particular law and say, you know what? You have no right to videotape someone in their home, in their privacy without their knowledge, and just pass that as a law.
And that's exactly what we did. We said if you are videotaping somebody in the nude without their consent, while they're in a place where they have a reasonable expectation of privacy, that is now a 5-year penalty, 5-year felony because of this new law we got on the books last December.
Excellent. So now Wisconsin is the only state that has that as law.
There are very few out there with real tight legislation that makes it a felony, that takes it very seriously, and I'm hoping it will be a model for federal legislation as well as other states because there's very little out there.
But right now, the federal courts are dealing with this because if they pass a law like that, I would expect a certain amount of privacy in my car. So that means that I could then use that same law and say that the state's should not be allowed to videotape me driving down the street and I run a red light and send me a ticket.
Yeah, and that's why this has to be very narrowly tailored. Again, with First Amendment concerns, they're striking down things, legislation against child pornography all the time, courts out there. So it really has to be drawn very tightly, and I think we've done that in this statute. I think it is being challenged in court right now, but I'm very confident it will be upheld and will be a good model for the future.
Can you explain to me why is it that in cases like the ones we have here, too, they're minors. And I don't care that it was a minor that videotaped them. But there should be something greater than, a slap on the wrist and 90 days for invasion of privacy, molestation. I'll call that sexual molestation because they were children and you molested them by letting other people see that, so therefore they can't even walk and hold their heads up high.
Initially, I expected that the child pornography statutes would have covered something like that. But in our state, it has to be a lewd exposition of the genitals. And just taking a shower, just changing your clothes, just being nude is not considered lewd.
So therefore, well, okay, I don't even want to say what I was about to say because that would allow some other people to get away with some stuff. Only in the state of Wisconsin.
Only in the state of Wisconsin.
So that means the other 49 need to do something. Take a little break. We'll be back right after this.
Whether you live in the New York area or are planning on visiting the New York area, we would love to have you as a part of our studio audience. Please contact us at Tickets, The Montel Williams Show, 433 West 53rd Street, New York, New York, 10019, or call 212-989-8101, or email us at tickets@montelshow.com. Please be sure to include your phone number. Promotional consideration provided by the following.
One more hot flash. I'll scream.
Try all natural New Phase, the plant estrogen supplement with more of the ingredients shown to reduce hot flashes. New Phase. Get more out of life.
Melba snacks are very sophisticated crackers and will make you a more interesting person. So, buy some, okay?
I'm going to have to make something very, very clear. This is very clear that the NFL, so far, only 3 players in the NFL have admitted to having voyeuristically looked at you guys. So, I mean, until there's some greater admission or something, I mean, what if the entire NFL decides to put up the big green wall of silence and say, I never looked?
Montel, we're going to make them put their hands on the Bible and choose between perjury and redemption. There are a lot of people in those locker rooms. They've got to be sure that all 45 are going to lockstep lie, and there's some good guys on each team. And I think the good guys are going to tell the truth, and I think the bad guys know it.
And what? Well, I don't even speculate because I would rather this go all the way. I don't know how to point this in a direction to make this go all the way. I think that all the ladies should be compensated in some way, shape, or form, even if it is just in the form of a letter. Now, why? Have you talked to the legal team?
We've written a series of letters to the commissioner, and this is the commissioner who fines players for do-rags and end-zone dances. That's not criminal conduct. This is. There's a 100-page handbook on drug offenses for the NFL. There's 0 pages on this type of abuse.
Have we already contacted every cheerleader that has ever been a cheerleader for?
We haven't reached out to anybody. They've come to us as they hear about it. We got a call a couple weeks ago from a girl from Sweden who heard about a radio interview I did with BBC. Not all of us read the same newspapers, and we're still getting calls from folks who just heard about it, and we welcome the support. I mean, Suzette started this, joined by Nicole, but they're happy to have the folks that came here today. They're happy to have the 120th person that joined this week.
And now, right this minute, the lawsuit does not, it only names 3 players and has the rest of just this team, correct?
We didn't want to unfairly name any individual player, so we named John Doe's 1 through 500, and we're going to put them in there as we can name them, identify, and prove, because I don't want to punish those bad guys. That wouldn't be that'd be less fair than what we've been subjected to.
Correct. All right, well, I wish you a lot of luck. We're going to take a little break. We'll be back right after this.
Are you ready to walk out if your mate doesn't break an embarrassing habit? If so, call us at 1-800-MONTEL-2. That's 1-800-MONTEL-2. Whether you live in the New York area or are planning on visiting the New York area, we would love to have you as a part of our studio audience. Please contact us at Tickets, The Montel Williams Show, 433 West 53rd Street, New York, New York, 10019, or call 212-989-8101, or email us at tickets@montelshow.com. Please be sure to include your phone number.
On the next Montel, will the truth set them free? Well, somebody needs to come clean. Who's that?
Me.
What deep secret is Wendy too afraid to tell her husband?
It's ate me up inside for so long, and I can't do it anymore.
A lie detector will finally reveal the truth, but is her husband ready for it? Plus,
there's rumors that he's cheating on me.
Is Daniel really two-timing Michelle?
When I ask him where he's been, he tells me, well, it doesn't matter.
The truth and nothing but the truth on the next Montel. Well, State Representative, what can we do as viewers that are watching the show? What can they do right now to see if they can prompt their state legislation into changing the law?
It's critical that they call their state senator, state representative, and also congressperson to let them know we need a national law against putting this type of thing over the internet, and we need state laws against the taking of pictures and the videotaping in the first instance.
So just write your state representative, write your congressman?
Call them up, put them on the hot seat. These cases are going around all over the place. They're in the newspaper. Somebody's going to jump on this and want to solve the problem. So you just got to hold their feet to the fire and make them do the job.
Let's get some feet to the fire. I want to thank you all for joining us. I wish you all well, ladies. I really hope that this lawsuit goes through, and I hope that you are successful. And it's not so much in getting the monetary, I mean, maybe you want some, but I don't think it's for the monetary reasons. It's just to prove a point. The good old boy thing is done. It's time for us to all grow up and start acting. I mean, these guys who play football, I'm sorry, guys, honestly. I got a lot of football players that are friends of mine, but I thought you guys were all men. And little boys do this, not men. Join us in the next one.
This is Steve Carlin.
And I'm Cynthia Fodor for your first look at today's breaking news.
Plus, Curtis Sturts is live. Super Doppler forecast.
Join us for KCCI's First News at 5.